Well. Gervonta Tank Davis makes a big move in social media. The PBC releases some information, and now, hopefully, at last, the naysayers can zip their lips. Let's talk about that in this video. All right. So we got a move from Gervonta Davis, which is a very great sign that he is going into a big fight with Frank Martin. He cuts himself off of all of his social media. So if you feel like you were blocked, you might have been blocked, but he still cut off his social media, and the PBC made a big move on Amazon, which should quiet the nerves of a lot of people that genuinely care. I'm being very sarcastic when I say that. Let me do it again. For the people that genuinely care about the welfare of Al Haymon and the PBC in the boxing world. Now, before I get into the details, though, let me welcome you back to the channel. If you're new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And if you're a longtime subscriber and supporter of the channel, thank you very much. Look, man, sometimes when we talk boxing, whether it be on Twitter, whether it's on YouTube or wherever you do it, man, or ladies, there is going to be, what's the phrase? Some haters out there. And especially in boxing, man, the PBC and PBC fighters have more haters than anybody else easily. Now, because really it was birthed from a position that you were going to get a lot of them. Now, Gervonta Tank Davis had put out a tape of him, a picture, of him weighing 138 pounds ahead of him going into camp, right? 138 pounds. 138 pounds for a 135 pound fight means that he is already on weight. He is already there. He was obviously very careful with his diet. So what do people say? People say, oh, wow, he's going to be weight drained. He's going to be weight drained. He's going to be He's going to be overtrained. He's dry. He's going to be in a lot of trouble because he's at his weight, because he's already right at the fight weight, because he's only got 3 pounds to lose. Leonard Ellerby, who was the CEO of Mayweather Promotions, said this, or at least liked a video or reposted a video where somebody commented that Gervonta Davis is one of the few fighters in boxing that are actually fighting at the weight class he's supposed to fight at. So he doesn't have to worry about his weight. He doesn't have to worry about getting too much higher above weight. It's easy for him to make that weight. And that's something I've been saying for a while about Gervonta. He could be fighting at 130 pounds. He himself says that if he really, really tried hard, or if he had a really good camp, he thinks he could get down to 126 pounds. That would probably be a feat for him and something he probably should not do, because then he would be going up probably to 140 pounds, after he rehydrates, or maybe not, seeing he's at 138 pounds now. But whatever the case is, the man is clearly in his proper weight class, clearly in shape. And now with him removing himself from social media, is clearly really focused and avoiding a lot of the conversations, a lot of the back and forth that can keep him from training on specifically what he needs to do to beat the guy that's going to be in front of him, which is 99.9% going to be Frank Martin. And 100% is not going to be an easy fight, because that is a dangerous fighter that he should not be taken for granted. Gervonta Davis is not going to be running around saying absolutely ridiculous things on the internet just to try to draw attention to the fight. He's going to leave the promotion for the fight up to the actual promoters themselves. Word of mouth on YouTube, word of mouth on Twitter, whatever else. TikTok, if there's going to be a TikTok anymore, man, they about to ban TikTok. I'm not on TikTok, but hey man, it is what it is. I am not going to talk about this because this is not a political channel, but I kind of want to. Anyway, they're not going to be able to promote it on TikTok. But at the end of the day, man, I expect to see a very, very focused and a very, very, very sharp Gervonta Davis, who fought 2 times last year. He did go into, he did get locked up for a little while, was on house arrest for another amount of time. So really, that might have actually limited the amount of partying he was doing. But he wanted to get 3 fights in last year. He only got 2. So some people want to call it a tune-up. I wouldn't call it a tune-up. I would say it's legitimately a top fighter. Rough, could be a very tough fight for him and a very entertaining fight for us. And I'm really looking forward to it. Now, the other piece that I wanted to talk about in this particular video is the fact that there's been so much content released for the on Amazon Prime for this PBC deal, which answered one of the questions about whether or not the PBC deal really had any money behind it. As they said, people were saying, well, where's the shoulder programming? Where's the 24/7? Where's the 24/7? Where's the production for these fights? Well, it was released. It's going to be released today, and that is the promotion for the fight of the Rolly Romero Isaac Cruz fight on Amazon Prime. And that is not going to be pay to watch. Is anybody with Amazon Prime can watch it and can see it that's a sports fan. So there's your shoulder programming. Also, they've released at least 2 fights from last year that I know of on Amazon Prime that are replays, and that is the one that I definitely don't want to be ever watching again in my life. What a horrific fight, man. That was a whooping. And that is Errol Spence Jr. and Terrence Crawford. Spectacular performance for Terrence Crawford, though. And the one-sided whooping of Gervonta Davis versus Ryan Garcia, which honestly, I don't know if I'm going to watch that again either, because Ryan got whooped up in that one. But whatever the case is, that answers these questions about whether or not they have a shoulder program or whether they have a budget, which, like the other conversation, I did another video today about rumors surrounding Terrence Crawford and who he was going to fight. Man, these boxing rumors, we got to always take them with a grain of salt. Always take them with a grain of salt. And I don't care who they come from. They could come from Mike Coppinger. They could come from anywhere. Dan Rayfield. Dan Rayfield tends to be, he doesn't miss the mark by much. And if he does miss the mark by much, man, it's like every blue moon that happens with him. He's usually, checks, double checks, triple checks. Guys like Jake Donovan do it as well. But I've always said that YouTube boxing, you should come to talk about the news on YouTube. Without a doubt, come to talk about the news. But whenever you're talking about the news, always take it with a grain of salt that, hey, man, most people on YouTube, are not talking to Al Heyman directly. They're not talking to Bob Arum directly. They're not talking to Eddie Hearn directly. And if they're getting information a lot of times from camps, they're getting them from their camps, and the camps are getting, maybe sometimes they get what people want to happen or what they think will happen. And as it goes, and as that information gets passed down the line, it gets more diluted and more diluted and more diluted. But again, YouTube is a great place to talk about the news, but always take it with a grain of salt, especially when you think people that had fights that were as big and successful as the PBC had last year, that announced that they have 13 fights on Amazon Prime, are just lying. But some random dude on Twitter knows the inside scoop on it. Anyway, that's my take on the matter. Please let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.